Committee equally comprehended the mandate of fixing local government and transform the economy, as well as all the related tasks that were articulated and directed by the 2026 January 8 statement of the ANC's National Executive Committee. As such, the Regional Executive Committee reaffirmed its commitment of working together with communities to do better in accelerating service delivery and driving local economic development. The meeting received an organizational update which covered the work done, tracing our outstanding actions and the tasks that lies ahead. Additionally, the meeting engaged on measures that are related to the strengthening and enhancing of governance performance with a view to preserve the stability of council and the work of executive. Given that outcoming provincial conference of the ANC in Gauteng, the Regional Executive Committee also engaged on a regional approach towards the conference, subject to further interactions with our broader structures. On organizational work, the meeting received an update in respect of the implementation of organizational work as guided by our adopted program of action for 2025-2026. To this end, the regional leadership noted with encouragement the implementation of taking the ANC to communities by our branches in an effort to reconnect the African National Congress with communities. This work will continue on a regular basis as underpinned by voter contact, service delivery meetings, community safety, as well as stakeholder engagements. We also commend all ANC branches for having participated in the Back to School Readiness Program, making a significant contribution in ensuring a conducive environment for teaching and learning. We worked tirelessly with our structures in intervening where there were challenges of placement, and we continue to implore the Department of Education to close all the gaps in the systems as it relates to applications in the next cycle. The Regional Executive Committee reiterates that a branch in good standing must be characterized by its involvement in helping to resolve community issues. The organizational report also indicated that we undertook the induction of branch executive committees as part of the objective of increasing the branch leadership's understanding about organizational functionality. And this forms part of organizational renewal, cadre development in order to build quality leadership. This induction forms part, as I've indicated, of capacitation of leadership structures for them to effectively run the basic unit of the African National Congress. We will continue to assess the impact of the inductions in relation to the overall functionality of our structures on the ground. With regards to the by-elections, the African National Congress once more noted the win out of a tough and a highly contested by-election in Ward 109 on the 10th of December 2025. We continue to thank the voters in Ward 109 for entrusting the African National Congress with what we call a privileged responsibility to serve. As such, we continue to pledge to do better, and the ANC Ward Councillor has already hit the ground running, attending to issues that affects communities as it relates to service delivery. On the 114th anniversary of the ANC in the region will convene the 114th anniversary celebration of the African National Congress across all our zones, along with our community members. Branches of the ANC in the region have been encouraged to undertake charity work in a build-up to the zonal anniversaries that will celebrate the 114th anniversary of the organization. Importantly is that the celebrations will further outline and take along community members about the 2026 tasks that are already in motion for implementation emanating from the statement of the ANC. towards the provincial conference. Given the renewal program, the concerning electoral performance, as well as the existential risk that is faced by the organization even in this province, the Regional Executive Committee appreciated the fact that it has a responsibility to contribute and guide the regional participation in the upcoming provincial conference. At the center of what we term our guiding contribution, it will be a perspective on that which must be discussed to regain the lost ground, as well as an inclusive leadership collective, as opposed to factional victories and winner takes all. The Regional Executive Committee emphasized the importance of synergy as we move towards the provincial conference, and it is discouraging any fragmented lobbying that are not necessarily in the best interest of renewal, but interests that are self-positioning. As such, the regional office bearers were mandated by the Regional Executive Committee to engage with other regional leadership around this issue of the provincial conference, a process to be initiated by the regional chair working along with the regional secretary. These engagements with other regions will focus on political and organizational strengthening, including leadership discussion that is driven by consensus and not selfish interest at the expense of the standing of the ANC in the province. So the point we're emphasizing is that we want to pursue engagements on consensus leadership, but the process will be bottom up because we do interact. We do rather need to interact and consult with our structures. On governance update, having received an update on the latest developments within municipal governance in the city of Ekurhuleni, the Regional Executive Committee welcomed the work that has been done thus far in stabilizing governance through a renewed sense of service. We call upon all political parties in council to prioritize the servicing of residents at the center of everything. The meeting reiterated the call of committing ourselves to fixing local government through visible delivery that must translate into improved quality of life. Core services like water, sanitation, electricity, and waste collection must be provided with minimal interruption, and that service delivery queries must be swiftly attended without seriously inconveniencing our residents. The meeting commended the ANC's foresight of embarking into the construction of 29 new water reservoirs during the period 2016 up until 2021 term of office, an investment that has really enabled the city of Ekurhuleni to ensure that it is able to provide sustainable water. The ANC is calling for the resolving of persistent water challenges, particularly in the area of Bedford View, one of the high-paying areas, along with Tsakane, as well as the Davidton and Etwatwa area. The point we are emphasizing here is that the fallacy or the false reporting that the issue of water is being championed in Ekurhuleni by a particular party that has since decided to leave the collaborative government is actually untrue. We took a bold decision to invest in the construction of 29 reservoirs as the African National Congress. And that foresight, as we're indicating in our statement, it has helped us to stabilize the supply of water in Ekurhuleni. So it's not a sudden thing, but it was a strategic and a foresight intervention. The Regional Executive Committee was also abreast about the suspensions of the CIO, the head of risk, as well as the head of human resources, which we as the Regional Executive Committee, we fully support. We implore all the suspended senior officials to cooperate and subject themselves into the disciplinary processes, a platform through which they will be able to make their own representation against the allegations that are put before them. We also strongly condemn any form of attempt to resist appearing before the disciplinary committee by senior officials through the use of unnecessary tactics and delays. The point is that everyone must appear before the disciplinary committee and explain their case. Furthermore, we vehemently discourage any sponsored attacks against the executive mayor, which are nothing but mere attempts to suffocate consequence management. We equally view these attacks as being coordinated and financially funded by some of the senior officials as part of an attack against the character of the executive mayor and the fight to push back against the mayor's call for accountability. The ANC in Ekurhuleni is firmly behind the executive mayor, Comrade Nkosi Ndiphile Qhakaza, and we did encourage him and all other political parties who are committed into good and ethical governance to remain steadfast and be resilient against any efforts that are aimed at evading accountability and consequence as led by the executive mayor. On the strengthening of the mayoral committee, the ANC in Ekurhuleni welcomes the changes in the mayoral committee, which were informed by, amongst others, by an assessment that was conducted by the executive mayor. So we fully welcome those changes as effected. These changes, in our view, they represent a decisive step towards strengthening government, improving stability within council and the administration at large. But most importantly, these changes are aimed at ensuring that we accelerate service delivery to the residents of Ekurhuleni beyond the remainder within this term and beyond the term itself. We trust that the newly appointed members of the mayoral committee will work along the executive mayor and contribute towards a renewed commitment to improve performance and good governance through the implementation of practical and impactful interventions consistent with the mandate of fixing local government. A stable council is essential, and that is the point that the Regional Executive Committee is making. Hence, we support the consideration of other political parties into the executive leadership, and we view this move by the executive mayor to be embracing the principle of inclusivity, something that must also find expression within the composition of the legislature. Accordingly, the executive mayor must fill the outstanding members of the mayoral committee to ensure the full complement of the executive, subject to the necessary consultation. We wish to assure the residents of Ekurhuleni that there is no crisis in the city of Ekurhuleni. There is no crisis in the leadership of the executive mayor and his team. And if there is anything, it is that of stabilizing the city and the city's administration. As we speak, the city is functioning and the administration has heeded our call of a renewed public administration. Just yesterday, the executive mayor convened the mayoral committee meeting with the new members of the mayoral committee to process items that must be considered before council. I wish to touch on the Action SA as well as the EFF aspects in view of their reaction to the changes in the mayoral committee. With regards to the Action SA, we wish to inform you that out of numerous engagements, we did extend an invite for Action SA to participate in the mayoral committee, to which they rejected, as we saw in their media statement. The African National Congress wished to equally reject the notion by the Action SA that their rejection is on the basis of not wanting to join a failing government, which in our view is not the case, as the city of Ekurhuleni continues to function despite what was an era of maladministration, mismanagement, and coordinated compromised good governance practices, which, by the way, the Action SA participated in through one of their MMCs of community safety. And some of the issues that we are responding to in the Madlanga Commission today, the MMC of community safety coming from Action SA was in fact part of the mayoral committee and lacked the necessary leadership to ensure that there is political oversight. So we continue to say that we are functioning as an institution and we are correcting the era of maladministration, mismanagement, and coordinated compromise of good governance practices. And that era, we term it as the era of barren years. The Action SA, in our view, was threatened by the EFF in that if they take up the positions in the city of Ekurhuleni, the EFF will therefore withdraw its support against their mayor in Tshwane. So that is the real reason why the Action SA, in our view, has suddenly taken a U-turn from participating into the executive. And just for your information, yesterday we established that the Action SA has withdrawn a motion coming from their side which called for the establishment of the deputy executive mayor in the city of Ekurhuleni, of course with an eye of occupying that position. And this could not be possible outside the collaboration with the African National Congress. So the notion that they don't want to participate in a failing government is actually an illusion, a political reason. There are two fundamental issues. They are trying to protect their executive mayor in the city of Tshwane. And as we said, they submitted a motion of deputy mayor, and that should be clear and logical that they have an interest in participating into the executive. Be that as it may, we view Action SA as a party, in our view, that can still play a role in cementing the stability, and we wish to say that our doors continues to be open because we are a functioning municipality and not a municipality in crisis, collapse as it is purported by Mr. Mashaba. Hilaba kuri Tatana Mashaba, Tana ibulabule. There is no one who will remove you in the city of Ekurhuleni without the ANC. And I want to repeat this, Chair. Hilaba kuri Tatana Mashaba, Tana ibulabule. There is no one who will remove the executive mayor of Tshwane without the African National Congress. Mr. Mashaba got easily scared and he succumbed to the threat, and he then took a retreat in that regard. He chose to succumb to the threat by the EFF, and EFF has no capacity, by the way, to remove the mayor in the city of Tshwane. Regarding the EFF, we have always indicated that we accept that we as the African National Congress did not get an outright majority, but we are the biggest party in terms of council representation. And this is qualified by the 86 seats that we have as the African National Congress and the fact that we have 78 wards, constituting 70% of the total wards in the city of Ekurhuleni. And these wards are led by the African National Congress. Of note is that the EFF does not lead any of the wards in the city of Ekurhuleni. They had a belief that in view of the fact that the ANC did not get an absolute majority, therefore they are equal to the African National Congress, a notion that we dismiss to the extent that the allocation in terms of seats must represent proportional representation. We've made it clear as the African National Congress that we are not desperate to be in government at the expense of the coalition principles and the framework as adopted by the National Executive Committee of the ANC. We have urged the principle of proportional representation and commitment to coordinated manner of government to which the EFF has actually been allergic to, believing that they are equal to ANC, therefore they must be appropriated a substantial number of seats. But in occupying those seats, they failed to be committed into the leadership of the executive mayor as part of making sure that we govern through a common program of action and not spectacles and using positions for party profiling. At some point, the EFF was appropriated 5 MMCs, a number which was equal into the ANC, and they took strategic position without even leading a ward, something that we viewed as abnormal. We have since taken note that they have withdrawn from the executive, something that was long anticipated. And by the way, there has been a decision which was communicated by their leader that they will pull out from the cooperative or collaborative government with the ANC across all the municipalities. And it's something that we are yet to see. We believe that it was just a fallacy and probably a threat. If they are serious, they must do it in action. We will also have to look at the allocation in the legislature where the EFF is represented. We will look at this from a point of proportional representation, starting with the chair of chairs of the EFF and the entire oversight committee chairpersons that are occupied by the EFF. And this will be dealt with after the tabling of the Gauteng provincial budget. As we deal with the issue of executive, we are also going to deal with the issue of executive on the extent to which they are represented at the level of legislature, right from their chair of chairs and up until the chairperson that they are occupying. Their presence in the executive resulted in instances of compromised governance. They participated in decisions that led to the shifting of critical energy function, which ultimately led to the under-collection on the electricity revenue, plunging the city into a financial mess which we must now clean. Instead of considering the appointment of additional internal security cleaners, they spearheaded a tender which was justified by their leader at some point to have been done above board, even it was done within the shortest space of time, committing the city into a huge financial implication. A party that claims insourcing, but given an opportunity, they appoint security contractors without even saying, let's rather reserve a portion of the budget to appoint internal capacity. So they speak left and they walk right. And this is the second fact about EFF participating in government, literally and completely ignoring their so-called insourcing, but ensuring that they put a hand in the security tender. When the executive mayor is dealing with the revelations of the Madlanga commissions, they, EFF, removed their competent speaker, who was seen to be enabling a process of accountability and consequence management, which they wanted to block. So the removal of their speaker, it was on the basis that the executive mayor was clear that we must take corrective actions. And the speaker understood the essence of good governance, the call for accountability and consequence management. They saw her as a person that will block their intent of protecting some of the senior officials within the city of Ekurhuleni. And this is one of the things that the EFF being in government results into, the blocking of accountability and consequence management. We allocated 200 million into the Department of Water and Sanitation for them to procure chemical toilets as part of progressively removing away the 100% reliance on the chemical toilets. Till to date, and before their removal or withdrawing themselves, they did not initiate a procurement process to ensure that we spend the money, so that the status quo of contractors fully providing these chemical toilets purely because of their direct interest and the hand in those tenders they remain. This leadership continues to be committed in making sure that we stabilize the city and ensure that the city remains a delivering city. Thank you very much. That is the end of our statement.
Thank you so much, Nopala. Now we're going to open for the session of answers and questions and answers. Before you raise your question, you indicate the media house, the name of your name and the media house you come from. We'll start with indicating. Let's just count. You take the number. 1, Tumbali, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As per your number, please. Ms. Vilakazi.
Busi Vilakazi, Kexton Media. Sorry. You mentioned that with Action SA EFF, last time the mayor said they had till the end of the day to actually reject or accept. Question is, have they officially done that in paper, or are you still giving them the opportunity to actually sit down and talk with leadership in taking up the position? And if you're not considering that, is there a party that you have identified within the council that can take up the positions? And the last question on the issue of securing the tender for the chemical toilet. Wasn't there a better solution in terms of securing the chemical toilet, or looking at a permanent infrastructure for the areas that you were securing those toilets for?
Mbali.
Valentin Teto for SABC News. Now, with regards, Valentin Teto for SABC News. Now, with regards to the distribution of positions of MMCs, are you saying that the decision to remove some of the EFF councillors has been informed by the fact that they hold no wards and therefore do not represent the will of the people, and therefore the party with the most wards and most seats should be the one that is able to take up majority of the MMC positions? And is it at all possible to, go back to the drawing table and renegotiate your relationship with the EFF?
Finish.
Thabiso Koba from Eyewitness News. Just on Action SA, was there ever a point where Action SA agreed to come into the mayoral committee? And if not, then why was Polani Kumalo announced as an MMC? My second question is around that currently, are there any worries that currently this coalition that the ANC is leading is a minority coalition and it makes you susceptible to a motion of no confidence? Are there any worries on that respect? Thank you.
All right, Mpatwa.
Thank you. Mfanelo Zanile from TVS Online News. My question will be directed to specifically the chair. On the portfolios, I may not be sure if it's portfolios or committees. I see the energy department has vanished. So I just wanted to find out what is the plan with that. And also, should we then be worried as the residents, because it looks like there's instability within, especially with the political parties communicating via the media that now they are not buying into what is happening. Thank you so much.
Gauteng Network.
Cindy Santlawati from the Gauteng Network. Just a few questions. The first one is on the water and sanitation portfolio, now moved into the, and I think, what is it called? Yeah, that utilities. Yeah. Areas such as Tembisa, Davidton had water crises a few times throughout the year, and now things were starting to destabilize. Will this not reintroduce that difficulty of those type of instability in that particular portfolio again in terms of water security? The water procurement issue that you are saying that they had failed the previous MMC to ensure that it's executed. What exactly was the impact behind that in terms of to residents of Ekurhuleni? Now, the relationship with the city, with the regional office of the ANC and the EFF. Are we then expecting next Thursday probably a method fight in council, or how is it going to affect maybe decisions and votes going forward? Because there's a 122 depending versus the other, I think, 130. So, rightly said, so it's going to be a tense situation in council going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Lubabalo Khokho from Culturous Media. Okay, Lubabalo Khokho from Culturous Media. Umbuzo nje mibini. Oqala uthi from njengoba asivile uMr Dabati ethetha esithi ucela uMr Hemni Mashaba baze bazothetha uba akavumi ukuzothethana nabo kuzokwenzekani. And the second question is ama security astrikekileyo apha eKurhuleni. Ama securities akade infrastructure ka government afaka impahla ezi private, and sometimes ebusuku awabonakali or during the day or ekuseni kuma facilities ka government awabonakali infrastructure ka government yamosheka while ama securities akhona. What's your take on that? Yes.
Anele?
Okay, Anele Spinase from EKFM. I'm partly covered on some of the questions that I had. But also I want to come on this portfolio here, Metro Utilities Trading Service, that includes energy, water, and waste. Why this demanding the departments, which are the main service delivery, put under one MMC, and in Nationality Nalapo MMC Efigayo in council, a new councillor? Why is that so?
Thank you so much. Can come in now.
Good morning, my name is Samson Natova from News 24. Mayor, with regards to your reshuffle or the changes to your mayoral committee, why are you comfortable announcing the Action SA's Xolani Khumalo, given the fact that he is in court for an assault charge? Is that not a problem at all for your ANC? And then you spoke about speaking to parties to fill these vacancies. Who are you talking to, and to what extent? And you've touched very briefly on the situation with regards to the provincial conference that's coming up. What sort of expression is this region wanting to find in whatever is the outcome of the provincial conference? I know we've seen the mayor on some slates flying around. Can you confirm here? Are you available for anything? And if you can, please just bring us into your confidence. Are you actually standing for leadership at the upcoming conference? Thank you.
All right, you can come through, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Sana Moleb from the Sunday Times. I'm covered by my colleague Siam Tanda. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think that's the end of our question. I'll leave it to the leadership to come and respond to the questions.
No, thank you very much, because there are a number of governance-related questions, and we will allow the executive mayor to talk to that. Of course, a timeline was given for the parties to make their final determination, and they have not responded accordingly. So that was the courtesy from the executive mayor, out of being considerate and fair, to say probably they are reapplying their minds. Be that as it may, we can't be held back. The full complement of the mayoral committee must be in place, as we are saying in our statement, that accordingly the executive mayor must then fill the positions that are outstanding. A better solution for comical toilet is what we have been propagating and actually articulated even in our State of the City address and the budget. And you need that willingness from the leadership to understand that this thing of chemical toilets is unsustainable financially, but also our communities, they deserve decent ablution facilities. But because people are entrenched into tenders, we tend to turn a blind eye on permanent and quality solution because we continue to extract benefit from this arrangement of chemical toilets. The distribution of a position in Bali, we have been clear as the ANC that we must follow a proportional representation because that is a fair principle for all other political parties. And that is why we are saying in our statement, we accept that we don't have the absolute majority. But on the strength of the numbers that we have, when we allocate positions, it should be reflective of the numbers that political parties do have. You can't have a party with no councillors, occupy 5 MMCs, and at some point in time it negotiated a de facto mayor through the AIC, which they controlled. So literally through back door, they were running the city. And we could not have allowed that. And that is why we went through the appropriate consultation with our established structures in the ANC right up until national to put a case that organizationally it is not politically sound to have the status quo remaining. And we did receive that concurrence. Hence, boldly, the executive mayor is able to move with the reduction of the EFF. And that is what informs Mbali, the decision to then making changes. Going back into the table, we have said our doors are always open, but we don't have time to waste in protracted negotiations for positions and PEC. Our time now is to consolidate the mayoral committee and make sure that those that are appointed, they hit the ground running. The deputy chair just this morning was engaged in the work of service delivery. You saw yesterday the MMC of community safety, newly appointed, engaged in the work. The mayor convened the mayoral committee. So there's no crisis. Those that wants to talk, the doors are open. They can initiate that and will entertain such when that is initiated. I did indicate that, Tabiso, there would have been numerous engagements with the Action SA around their role in participating. And I told you that in our own assessment, the sudden shift was informed by the threat that they are going to remove their mayor there in Tshwane, which we are saying it's not possible for the EFF to remove any mayor, by the way, in the entire Gauteng, not necessarily in the city of Tshwane, so that we don't appropriate some serious status into the EFF as if they can do anything to destabilize our municipalities. As I said, we are still waiting for their pronouncement that they are going to withdraw literally across all the municipalities. And the government will be in place and life will go on across all the municipalities. Are we worried about the vote of no confidence? Certainly no. We're not worried about the vote of no confidence. They can bring it on, the EFF. And we do believe that there is an appreciation by political parties in the city of Ekurhuleni that were committed to stability. We are being inclusive. And of course, we allow political parties to exercise oversight and scrutiny over the leadership of the ANC. We are not immune to that as an ANC. So we are not living in a moment of threat, because otherwise, if you preoccupy yourself with a threat, you are not going to govern. If that happens, it must happen. But for now, we have the responsibility to govern. But I don't believe that they have the capacity at this point in time to advance a motion of no confidence against the executive mayor. We don't see it finding life. It will be defeated accordingly in our view. Should we be worried because of what is seen to be instability? No, it is something that is projected in the public space. There is no instability. I just told you that yesterday there was a mayoral committee. The administration, through fixing the front line, it is working on a daily basis. So council is going to sit tomorrow. So governance, service delivery continues to operate. Of course, you do expect spectacles because of the anger of some being removed or cut. By the way, we did not remove EFF. We reduced EFF to size that they deserve, and they decided to withdraw themselves. So it should not be blamed on us. They removed themselves, and of course they said they want to exercise oversight in council. It is their right as a political party, and where we need to respond accordingly as the ANC, surely we will do that. So let's not blown out of proportion the statement by both political parties as if there's calamity or collapse in the city of Ekurhuleni. There is no such. The city continues to operate, and I'm sure the executive mayor will emphasize on that point. Are we expecting massive fight in council? We are not in a business of fighting Gauteng network. We are in a business of governing, service delivery, and good governance. Those that are immature, they will play in that space of fighting in council. But the council will sit, the council will debate robustly so, and the council will conclude on its item. If political parties chooses to be engaged into an anger and a revenge through fighting, it should be known that they are simply disrupting the work of service delivery and what our communities must actually benefit. So immature parties will engage on that, but matured parties understand that irrespective of where we come from as political parties, our singular and common objective is that of making sure that there are decisions that are benefiting our communities. As we said it, Lubabalo, our doors are open. We're not going to chase after people. The door is open. If you want to come in, you come in. And then we'll see you that you are in and have a conversation with you. Who are we talking to? We're obviously not going to divulge that. It's part of our political strategy on who we are talking to. And that is why, in confidence, we know that there will be stability in the seat of Ekurhuleni. Those who attempt to cause instability, they will be isolated accordingly, because there is a general sense amongst political parties of who are those that are not committed into the stability, and that there is no interest to preside or participate over a chaotic council, municipal administration, and executive. So we don't move without interacting with political parties. We consult, we move, but we are not going to be specific. Who are we talking to? And the mayor, accordingly, after the consultation, will pronounce so that we have a full package on the mayoral committee. The last point from me, Siamtanda. Our view as the REC, as we say in our statement, is not a preoccupation about the leaders. It's a preoccupation about conversation that must help us politically and organizationally to regain the lost ground. You see, Gauteng got 34% in the last elections. And a sober question that we must ask ourselves as cadres, members, and leaders of the ANC: why must we engage into a fierce contestation when we have the responsibility to regain the lost ground? So it makes no logical sense to fight over position and neglect what is critical, because you need a strong ANC in the country. Because any illusion that take out the ANC out of power, there will be stability, I think it's a false illusion. We're saying this because the ANC carries with it the plan. It carries with it the ideology that must respond to the historical struggle. We have the master plan as the ANC of what needs to be done to redress all the ills of the past. So believing that South Africa can simply progress without the ANC, I think it is not close to the truth. But the ANC accepts that in the ordinary course of governing in this 30 year of democracy or so, we have committed some mistakes. And that is why the ANC is embarking on a renewal program so that it corrects and cleans itself out of the things and tendencies that have made the ANC to be weak, has made the ANC to lose electoral support. And that is why there is no party that is able to get 50+%, because people still believe in the African National Congress. All that we need to do is to operate and service in the manner in which people expect the ANC to do so. So that is where we are preoccupying ourselves, discussions that must help the organization to be relevant and reconnect with the people. And we are saying let's have a consensus leadership so that going into the conference will become seamless. You see, with contestation, individuals will run around regions, provinces, the use of money gets to be introduced. Divisions, they deepen because people are contesting, and in the ordinary course, they speak ill even against each other. So the consensus must say, out of this pool, who are these comrades that are fit for a purpose and the moment that we are in as the African National Congress? Over to you, Comrade Chen.
No, thank you, Nopal, and greetings to all media houses. We really appreciate that you come. As always, we have been, at least in government, every month we have a session with your good selves to update you about what is happening, and that is why we are always hopeful for a correct reporting. Because we do that in order to close the gap, on behalf of also our communities. Because we do go to communities from time to time to do our outreach and speak to them, but we also believe media is a critical platform, to get the message across to our communities. And we really want to appreciate your honest reporting. Including those that decide to report differently, to run their own campaigns. We always invite them, but for strange reason, they do not come to these open invites. But I'm sure we'll address that in another time. But for now, we want to just, before we begin responding on the issues, to give you just a reminder on what we characterize as a barren years, or what we name the barren years of Ekurhuleni. And that is a period between 2021, 2022. Those are financial years, 2021, 2022, because you would know our financial year starts in July, 2021 to June. So that's why at the start, 2021, 2022, to 2023, 2024. So that period has been a period that is characterized by a regress in service delivery in Ekurhuleni, a collapse in revenue, governance failures, including just capacity. We lost a lot of critical, HODs that over time the city built those competencies. HOD of roads, HOD of water, I can name them, HOD of roads, Sizwe, Ndosicele, HOD of energy, Makwilson, HOD of water, Mdu, HOD of human settlements. So we can name them, the type of capacity that got when there's a change, when there was a change of leadership, when the ANC came out of power in 2021, lost power, and something else happened. And it brought about so many things. And it's important that we remind where we come from so that we have an appreciation that when we came in 2023, in fact 2024, when we elected just around the elections, which is about a year and 8 months or so, we had a mammoth task to use some of our experience, to use the ANC and what the ANC has over the years have learned. And they've developed a program of government, they've developed capacity to try and clean up the city. And I must indicate that even the in the coalition, our people entrust us with the responsibility as the ANC that you must hold the thought. You must take forward, and we've got no time to complain about electoral, how the elections happen and all that. We must make the coalitions to work. We must demonstrate to our people why it is necessary for the ANC to continue to be at the leadership, to rescue the city, to rescue Gauteng, to rescue South Africa. And sometimes when we make announcement, even the issue of Xolani is from Tembisa, it's from my ward. He grow up in the youth league under our leadership. His shift to this other party has been shocking to everybody. They don't believe what happened to this youngster that has been, in the midst of community, battle and all that. So we extend a hand, but we must also indicate extending a hand did not just happen because there's a local conversation. It happened because there has been a conversation with the leadership of Action SA. And in the last minute, if they decide to prioritize, Tshwane over Ekurhuleni, as I've indicated, it's unfortunate that you decide, for the people of Ekurhuleni not to be savist, because we want a multi-party government. We want a genuine multi-party with, not driven by politics. Our people, they want services. So, indeed, we are where we're sitting comfortable, as I've indicated. The mayoral committee, newly elected, fully energized. Yesterday said we're able to resolve on critical issues. We approved the code of ethical governance is approved. It's going to council for approval. Something that I've been struggling to get it through. We've been able to get it through. It goes a long way in ensuring that ethical leadership is actually something that is embraced for political leadership in council, but also for administration. We've been able to strengthen the Financial Misconduct Board. It is going to council, and that board is going to be effective in terms of all the instances where there has been a misconduct and that there must be corrective measures, there must be action. We've been able to approve for economic development the Jimiston Lake strategic land parcel. We want to see the city that is growing. We've got strategic land parcel that have been appetizing the markets for some time. And we must build a future city here in Ekurhuleni. So this is a demonstration. Just this morning, we're giving away a number of vehicles, about 6 compactor trucks, for waste, about 10 bakkies for electricity and 1 cherry picker, about 9 EMPD brand new vehicles. So there is a series of, and we'll release a media statement. So we are a city that is at work. So there must be no, our communities, they must not be worried. We are driving a government forward. So energy portfolio, it has not vanished. The department energy, it is there. The portfolio now, it is under utility services for reforms. And I'm going to explain what we mean. For reforms, there is energy, but also there is another portfolio which is operations, which looks at when there's outages and so forth, where various depots, various triple Cs, and all that, they get to escalate and work must happen. So we move to utilities. Things started. Water, for instance, Cindy. So you are saying things started to stabilize. Let me explain to you that we would have moved with much greater speed if the team that I was working with for the past 1.5 or 1 year, 8 months, or 18 months, the team that I've been working with was fully, following. I mean, look at the tower in Tembisa. We've stabilized the tower. When the communities were protesting there for the tower, I was the mayor that went there. Where was the MMC of water? Go to that period and check. This is a type of when we have to effect consequences, corrective measures. People they cry, they say no, we're political. We had to went there and actually ensure that the tower is commissioned, because that tower was built by the ANC, the previous leadership. 1.2 billion that was invested in reservoirs, but it was not commissioned. In the barren years, it was left idling. It was not reprioritized. Monies were taken from the townships. IDPs of ANC ward councillors were not funded, and it was shifted to suburbia. And we had to fix that. We had to ensure that we go there, we fix it. And we pride ourselves because we're able to do that. Go to eThwathwa. When we went and deal and address the sewer problems of eThwathwa, when we did the mayoral outreach, one of the things that we had to be firm on with these corrective measures that we said we are doing is that when we don't respond, when we say every Friday is mayoral outreach day, all members of the mayoral committee, they must go to communities as per deployment. All of them, they must go there without fail. Nobody, it doesn't matter which political party you come from, because the day we allow that, that's where there's going to be regress in government. And that's why our program is clear. Mondays is a political party day or constituency day. So all members of the mayoral committee are allowed to go and do their political work. On Tuesday, they must be meeting with their departments to ensure that they give leadership. On Wednesday is mayoral executive day, where mayor and them will do work. On Thursday, they must attend to oversight. Oversight, other councillors, they oversight them, they must answer in terms of what is happening. On Friday, they must go to communities. And the program, if it's agreed like that by the collective, everybody must say, and we will be giving out scorecards, to yourself as members of the media. We'll give you the assessment because it is important that we're transparent about the work that we're doing, so that when we say we've done an assessment, what do we mean? And this does not only affect, by the way, members of the EFF. It's not only the EFF that is affected here, if you are to be honest. Why are we busy talking about, and the demonstration is that over time, because when I came in here, I kept everybody, including Dunga. But we had to remove him. And we indicated that performance, you must perform so that we move together in driving service delivery forward. So, in Katlehong, we're still dealing with sewer. I've mandated the new MMC to say, let's go and resolve the sewer problems in Katlehong. In Tekema, we must go and resolve it. Far down in Ward 61 and so forth, we must go and resolve it. And when we say we must go, because the buck starts with the mayor. And they say, people, the mayor, you appointed people, and your people, they must therefore work. So the other chap is in court for assault. I have indicated that there are standing orders in council. Once you are electable in council, it therefore means you can be deployed in various structures. We will have to look at the standing orders and check how severe are the issues that is facing. It depends on one party to the other in terms of what is happening. But of course, it could be, because when we engaged with Xolani, he did not tell us that he's attending court. In fact, he agreed that with this assignment, he did not even say that he's attending court at 9 o'clock the following day. So these are some of the things that we don't want to spend our time on them. We are now focusing on rebuilding the city. We will be making the announcement. In fact, the process will finalize it. It's last stages of consultations to abreast, all the other stakeholders. If everything goes well, we should be able to announce this afternoon the 3 people that are replacing the other 3 who decided not to pitch. So if everything goes accordingly, we should be able to finalize and actually make that announcement. So the mayor's name is not on some slates. I still have a responsibility here. I was elected last year in August in a very robust conference. We are a product of a robustness. But I, of course, have spent time in the city of Ekurhuleni. 25 years if you count all of my experiences from SASCO as a chair of this region, where we advocated for the university. So I would love when I live here that we see some sort of turning. That the university, we've realized it in our lifetime. I've been in the youth structures, I've now in the ANC, so I do think I still have a contribution to make. But importantly, we've got very strong leaders coming from this region that are serving in the province. Panyaza, our pride, very dynamic leader. This region is fully behind him. We've got Kombe Matume, who's from the youth structures, our generation, Tasnim, Mutara. So that is a type of talent that I'm sure we will, when we conclude with a conversation, to say what type of leadership are we taking to the province. We'll be looking at that talent broadly. But I want to spend a bit of time on these coalitions, because coalition are not a marriage of convenience. In fact, coalitions must be based on the will of the people. That is why, if you look at, how the 112 wards of Ekurhuleni are shared, 78 of those wards are led by the ANC. 78 of those wards by the ANC. EFF has got zilch. They have no sense. That is why when we talk about the people of Tembisa, the wards in Tembisa, they have no connection. The wards in Katlehong, the wards in Tsakane, in Kwatema, in Daveyton, in Etwato, in terms of their responsiveness, because they do not have ward councillors. How they appropriate IDPs, how they prioritize IDPs, how they respond. So that is about 70% of the wards in Ekurhuleni are led by the ANC. The other, about 30 wards, are led by the DA. That's about 27% by the DA. In suburbs, they are largely. And the other 2 wards are led by the Patriotic Alliance. So if you look at the spoil, how the wards are shared, we must be more worried about people that are leading wards are the ones that are worried. And I'm sure those who are leading wards, they know what it means to have stability. But also they know what has been the influence of the EFF. Because the barren years, Tanya Campbell was influenced by the EFF. The minority mayor was influenced by the EFF. Now, their influence, it must stop. And we've put it to the stop. And I'm sure the people of Ekurhuleni, they have realized that just now we give them responsibility in terms of their founding manifesto. They say is land. We give them human settlements, which relates to building, houses for our people. We give them economic infrastructure development and development agents, which looks at, manufacturing, land for strategic independent development. They don't take it up. So is it genuinely about the electoral mandate of the parties or other interest? So it will tell you, because where we are sitting, that is why we say we do assessment, because coalition must also be informed by certain principles, must be underpinned by a certain principle. And from time to time, every executive authority reflects and applies its mind on the functionality of the collective. And if the collective is not moving the manner in which it is moving, we must apply corrective measures. We must strengthen the collective, and that is what we have done. And I've said we will share some of the assessment and the scorecards. So it is not just about the EFF. There is MMC of community safety, whom as well has been affected. So it's not about parties. So there's MMC of corporate and legal who has been affected. So why are we particularly paying attention to EFF and Action SA? We should be saying, what does it mean, this assessment, and how does it take the city forward, so that we communicate correctly to our communities. And the last part is that we've put up the utilities as part of the metro trading reforms. And the reforms are necessitated because the revenue of our cities is not growing across. The revenue of Ekurhuleni is not growing across all municipalities. The revenue is not growing, and as such, we do not have enough money to invest in the infrastructure, whether it's water infrastructure, whether it's electricity infrastructure. Today, we're handing over the compactor trucks to roll out our waste business. If we had money to buy all the waste trucks, there will be no need for us to outsource some of this, because we'll build internal capacity and be able to discharge the waste business. And that is why we need to reform and restructure the manner in which we do this work. And we do that in order to improve the revenue, but also in order to ensure that we have the borrowing capacity, because if we're doing water business, we require, just for us to complete our reservoirs, and about 5 billion. We also require, just on ERVAT, to do our wastewater treatment works, about 7.5 or so billion. So it's a money that we do not have. It means we must go to the capital market, but when you go there, you must be able to show the balance sheet. You must be able to say, our water business, what is the balance sheet? Demonstrate that the projects that are there are bankable, so that it then attracts what? The participation of the private sector, so that we can continue to discharge services for our people. So in the main, that needs to be led. We actually have Jean Stato to actually lead that. It needs to be communicated to all the stakeholders, internal stakeholders, our communities. They must know what is happening. But of course, there's another MMC who looks at operations and maintenance, who ensures that all the other service delivery issues are being attended to. And I want to maybe give Stato just to expand on the utilities. It's important that it is then understood what we're doing.
Good afternoon, all the media houses. Thank you, Executive Mayor. Thank you, Regional Secretary. Look, this is a portfolio that seeks to address how do we move as a city. What does that mean? It means that whenever we have capital, we can use that capital and go back and buy assets for the city that our employees can use. Subsequent to that, you can have, in fact, improvement of your maintenance. I think yesterday I received a call that says that is a substation that has a problem. Now, this particular department must look into that. If you speak of water, I'm from a water crisis meeting in Joburg. What does that mean? We have a reservoir that had a problem yesterday. But how do we go and complete these reservoirs? We need to have a business study case. And this is the model that the municipality has taken. I thank you very much.
Let's take the last hand.
Well, I'm sure colleagues are still okay and perhaps are satisfied with the questions. Let's just open the last round. We'll just take few hands just to finalize. And if you've been covered, please just indicate that you're covered. Let us not stretch it. And one question now, because the time is, the leadership has other commitments to rush to. Let's start with you, Vilakazi, as SABC Network, EKFM, as well yourself, and Sunday Times as well. In that order, please, one question, and let's make them very short.
You mentioned about self-cleansing you spoke about self-cleansing as the ANC, and you talk about you guys are, the ANC is the only party that can rescue, that understands what the people need. The DA, Helen Zille, the mayoral candidate, had the same statement to say that they understand the people, what they need. They are the saviors. What are you bringing on the table as the ANC as you embarking on this self-cleanse? Because people, or the talks on the grounds, people, they say they have tried it, bungozi. You have proven that you have failed the people. What are you going to bring on the table as the ANC to say we have self-cleansed? Are you going to be bringing new blood? Are we going to see new faces in leadership? that's going to be leading forward.
Thanks so much. Mbale?
Balendla Mthethwa for SABC News. Two questions really. The first is that it seems as though everything that happens in Ekurhuleni has a way of filtering through to other regions. And one of those is if the EFF does indeed sever ties with the ANC in Ekurhuleni, are you not worried that this could affect the coalition in the city of Johannesburg, where a motion of no confidence against the mayor has been postponed, and there's also an item on the agenda for a deputy mayor, and if the EFF were to abstain from those votes, do you think that that vote would be able to go ahead unhinged? And the second one is in regard to what were the reasons for, and this is directed to the mayor. Mayor, do you perhaps feel that in your efforts to ensure that those who are implicated in the Matlanga Commission, if you were to then appoint an EFF speaker in the form of the candidate that was proposed by the EFF, they would have perhaps interfered in the process of ensuring that the consequence management that has already been put in place would be hindered.
Thank you so much, Mbali. Let's go to the next one.
It's a quick one. How does the new board impact the impact of how will it work? How will they be appointed, and how will it impact MPEC? Sorry.
Spong. Soqinas.
Oh, this one is for you, Nobala. There was a video, circulating video of a certain councillor in Zakane who was accused of defrauding people land creation that belongs to the city of Ekurhuleni. Have you summoned that councillor, tried to understand his side of his story? Because there was a dramatic video and a certain TV channel that came to him just to understand that. What is your understanding as an ANC in that issue? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next one.
It's Yamtanga from News 24 again. It's Mayor or Mr. Hlabati, can you please just take us into your confidence around the involvement of your national bosses in this matter in Ekurhuleni? Have you taken it to the top 7? Do you know if they are looking at it? The discussions there. And then, given that you polled at 38% in 2021, and there's just a few months away from the elections, the wisdom in all of this, in this drama playing out in Ekurhuleni, is it not going to cost you even more votes? Thank you.
Okay, the last one.
Hi again, my name is Sisanda Mboleko from the Sunday Times. Quick one, did the mayoral reshuffle with the allocating of certain responsibilities under now new or differently worded portfolios, did that come with any cost implications? Thank you very much.
Give it to the leadership.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. There's no drama from the African National Congress, and that is why we have convened this press briefing to articulate our understanding and what we are doing to stabilize government. If there's any drama, it's from other political parties who wish not to participate in the process of stabilization. So we want to plead with you. The ANC can't account for other people's drama. We want to account for the work of stabilization, service delivery, good governance, accountability, and consequence management. So we have not issued dramatic things as ANC. We're a decent organization that communicates with clarity and at an appropriate time. and hence you are here today to hear from us as the African National Congress. I did indicate that prior to making the decision, we followed the established consultation protocols within the African National Congress, and we've went right through the national office bearers. So the executive mayor could not have pronounced any changes in the mayoral committee if that process was not satisfied. So we do these things with confidence that we've subjected ourselves into the necessary consultative processes. On the 12th of February, upon receiving that clip against one of our councillors, I did, as the secretary of the ANC, inform the councillor that he must be on standby to come and meet with the regional office bearers so that we hear the side of his story. You see, law must follow, or consequence management must also follow due processes. If you ask us as the ANC if we are concerned about the allegation, the answer is certainly yes, we are concerned about the allegation of one of our public representatives to be alleged to be engaged in such activities because we have drawn a line in terms of the conduct of those that are deployed in government. Comrades must be ethical. Comrades must not be found on the wrong side of the law. Comrades must not be found to participate in activities of corruption, because even our own task as an ANC, it says we must fight corruption. So it starts with us: corruption, maladministration, and all sorts of things that are impeding on the standing of the ANC. But due process must be followed, because you don't want to charge and cast a judgment on a person on the basis of what is appearing in the social media. I'm sure you know the Moja Love, the type of the channel they are. But be that as it may, they carry the responsibility to expose some of the wrong things. So 12 February, I have already alerted the council. When the office bearer meets, probably on Monday, the councillor will be called upon to account on these allegations. And of course, appropriate measures will be taken where we do believe that these are substantive and they warrant corrective actions. I think the EM will deal with the issue of the impact of the Financial Misconduct Board in relation, Chair, to the MPEC. I said the item on the motion on the establishment of the deputy mayor, it does not come from the ANC. It came from the Action SA, and they've only withdrawn it yesterday. So the point is that there's no party that can propose a motion to establish a deputy mayor when they don't have an interest to participate in the executive. Even yourselves as journalists and reporters, you should be smart enough to analyze this thing. So because now they are trying to protect themselves from what may appear to be a PR disaster, they had to withdraw the item. But as we said, our doors are open. Ngishilo ngathi Tatana Mashaba ilaba ubulabulaliwe so Tana he can come. Yeah. What happens in Ekurhuleni spills over into other regions. You see, one of the things that we have been advocating for as this leadership is that let's look at each and every municipality with its own merits at the time. But at this juncture, there is a framework that has been approved by the NEC of the ANC on how coalitions ought to be managed. Now, the chair has always made a point that Ekurhuleni is not a collateral for anything else. You see, the EFF, for instance, is working with MKP in KZN to remove the cabinet there, which involves the African National Congress. You understand that. Now, do we fold our arms and say, no, let it be, and then don't look at them in other areas? Because when it suits them, they wanted to preserve what they are doing in Ekurhuleni and threaten everything else using Ekurhuleni, because they have been entrenched here, 5 MMCs, key service delivery portfolios, led budget at some point in time, shenanigans happening with security tenders, shenanigans happening with our meter reading and ICT. And today we have a delay with the Auditor General's report, purely because of ICT issues and water issues. The genesis of our problems, and they were the center of leading the portfolios. So deal with Ekurhuleni alone, Joburg as well. There is leadership, they're capable enough of managing the challenges that are there in Joburg. And by the way, that motion of no confidence does not come from EFF. It comes from, I think, PAC and Al-Jamaa. Yes, it has nothing to do with EFF. But the point is that the ANC can be put into a corner and be threatened that if you do this in Ekurhuleni, we are going to do this somewhere else. The EFF is participating across all our municipalities. They have MMC in Tshwane, MMC in City of Joburg, and other municipalities. And that must be understood as such. Hence, even in our case, we are saying that we are going to look at EFF on how they are represented, even in the legislature, from chair of chairs right up until the last chairperson. We are dealing with Ekurhuleni. We are not interfering with other municipalities. So we are not a collateral as Ekurhuleni for everything else. What are we bringing? You see, this renewal program of the ANC, it came as a result of us appreciating that there is an electoral decline, there is an existential risk that is facing the ANC. And the root cause of it is the dissatisfaction, probably to some extent, by those that we are servicing, to say, the ANC le ayisasebenzi ngendlela esiyazi ngayo. Therefore, we can't rally behind the ANC. And the ANC is a listening organization, and it must then go through this process of renewing and cleansing itself, so that we are an ANC with a membership and a leadership that lives up to the values and the principles that the people know the ANC for. They want the right conduct of members. They want members who are selfless. They want members who understand mutual respect. And they want members who are people-centered, who are not prioritizing themselves at the expense of everything else. And they want members who accelerate service delivery and an ANC that continues to drive transformation. We must always take a pause in the midst of all this dissatisfaction and say, in this journey of a democratic dispensation, has the country changed to a better? Has transformation touched as many people as possible? And we argue that apartheid was never and will never be better than a democratic dispensation. That is a fact. Because you look at the spatial arrangement where our people were sitting or put during apartheid, and look at where our people are now. Suburban areas, you find black people, which was not the case before. Private schools preserved for white people, you find black people, which was not the case before. Black people are now occupying other professions that were preserved for white people, as opposed to nurse, social worker, police at the time, and probably lawyer, Ngabo Mandela and Tambo. With architects, with chartered accountants, with specialized doctors. So life is better in South Africa. Many people have access to electricity. Some of us, Brazil, we grew up ugesi singamas emakhaya. Sibukela TV kumakhelwane ngebetri. See group. Today we all have access to electricity. Today we have access to clean water today we have access to flushing ablution. So if the ANC can articulate those numbers, you will realize that indeed a lot has been done. And we always say that we are a victim of our own successes as the ANC, because there is more pressure for the African National Congress to deliver. So the comparison of apartheid and now, I don't think is fair enough. The ANC has moved. So ethical, selfless public representatives is what we are talking about in this renewal journey. We are restoring, for instance, public entities. The president was very clear that let's uncover all the rot that happened during the point where the ANC was in charge. So we're not a party that is scared to confront the things that are happening and begin to correct them. You see stability in ESCOM. You see an SAA that is now slowly working. You see Transnet that is also functional. And all these are the corrective measures as a result of the African National Congress. And the last point is that even yourselves, you must be conscious enough to analyze what is happening in the country. There is a plan for a regime change. And that regime change plan is targeting the African National Congress because of that which we represent, a transformation that is also pro-poor and black in particular. So if the ANC gets to be decimated, you are going to be left with the likes of MK Party. You are going to be left with parties of supreme leader like EFF. Chaos in the country. So you do need the African National Congress as a neutralizer, but a clean ANC, renewed, and an ANC that is at service to the people.
Yeah. I think there were two or so questions that we just need to answer. What are the cost implications for the new portfolios? There's zero. Yes, there is no cost implications directly because they simply move in where there's there's an office, there's everything else, so there's nothing new. So they just need to go and discharge their leadership. And I think you've touched the involvement of National. How is MPEC going to be affected with the financial misconduct disciplinary board? Is a part of that. MPEC investigate findings on the basis of whatever that would have been picked up. You can pick up a misconduct through internal audit or an external audit, AG for instance. And then MPEC then recommends for appropriate action. And this disciplinary board does exactly that. There's a different action that could be done. It's either you recover the cost that has been lost, or you write off, or you blacklist. But importantly, there must be a DC. In whatever that you do on the other hand, there must be. Whether you refer it to SIU for Hawks for further, fraud, if it's proven to be like that, but there will still needs to be an internal disciplinary mechanism. If you look at the summer buildings, for instance, we invited you here. We shared with you a summer building report, forensic report. We went there, we worked with you. We will do that again, I'm sure, in the week, because it is now complete. And we need this financial disciplinary board to take up those issues so that those who are cited, they can actually be put through the processes. Just on the issue of to expand, those that are implicated in Madlanga Commission, we've been very effective, and I'm sure we will call another meeting just to deal with the Madlanga issues in greater details, to give you all the reports. But part of the problems is that when you prefer corrective action, you must take it through the structures of council. If there's resistance you know, in whatsoever way, we are now happy that, you know, it's implementation, and the message goes very far, even to our own employees, that there is nobody who gonna second guess what needs to be done. And we've said that we have not checked. I mean, the blue light stories, even at the time, you know, we're asking, you know, one councillor in the council meeting was saying, Dunga, also explain yourself. Because there was allegation that you were in the blue light car at some point in an accident. These things are things that we must ask. Though we do not want to jump into what is happening in the commission, difficult questions, we must speak about them here in this council, if we are to correct. Now tell me, how do we then work in that environment? How do you work? If someone says, no, we want to be the speaker tomorrow, when it's not justified. The same character that I remove in the mayoral committee for underperformance is the same character that is able to just wake up and remove the speaker, mislead their own CIC, who doesn't ask questions. Because the CIC must then say, no, I'm firm. But unless then the CIC, I mean, he's always praised the outgone city manager. For us to actually do corrective measures, we have to battle. Now, we don't want to go there at length. We're focusing on taking the city forward, but I'm sure we're giving you hints. Now, we are serious because it is the city that it is paraded before Madlanga every day. It is the city. And we don't want to bring Madlanga into this conference room. Otherwise, I might as well be called. So it is a city that is before there. And who is that mayor? It is me, even though I was not there. I'm saying every day we go there, people are asking me in the Nenzani pa eGuruleni. Now, how do I distinct myself that bendinga yako? So we must move because we've got an obligation now to take the city forward. And you must agree with us. If you look at how the seats are shared in council, 70% of the seats in this council, in fact, of the vote of the wards, are with the ANC. 27%, which is 2 seats. In fact, if you look, approaching the 112 wards, 70%, which is 7 seats, are with the ANC. If you were to use that to say let's apportion on the basis of ward representation, are with the ANC. But we've been having 5 seats. It means there has been a compromise. In fact, 2 seats. If you look at 27, 2 seats should be with the DA and 1 seat with the PA. Because those are parties that have got wards. Even if you use the other calculation, you use another method to actually attribute what is the number of an allocation, you'd actually not find the basis why people they must want more than 2 seats. In fact, they are sitting at 1% plus something. Others, we add them because they must represent minorities. We must say, all the minorities combined, how are they going to make sure that their voice, they're represented in council? So the framework that we've put together is a framework that is informed. It's a Ekurhuleni governance framework. We've canvassed it. 13 of the parties, they've actually agreed. Some parties, they've agreed that they will only play a role in the legislature. So we will have to also strengthen the legislature, you know, to ensure that it is actually responsive. Someone is saying, no, but why are you doing it now? There's never a best time. The corrective measures that we're doing now must serve also as a basis and a foundation for the leadership that is coming, must serve as a reference. Some of the actions that we're taking today must serve as a reference for the leadership, that the mayor that must come must find this city clean. Because it's not about us and our term. It's about what type of foundation that we give for the successive leadership. Because what we're doing here, we're doing it for our kids, for the people of Ekurhuleni, and not about ourselves. Thank you.
I guess Bonga leadership, I think we are done, satisfied. Perhaps we can arrange interviews after this, one-on-ones and so on. But yeah, the leadership is going to be committed now to other meetings, but we can arrange interviews and other appointments as well for engagement. Thank you so much, colleagues.